Speaker. I move second reading of Bill 204, an act to amend the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Act 1997.
Mr. Yurek has moved second reading of Bill 204, an act to amend the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Act 1997. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for his presentation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the opportunity to debate my private member's business this afternoon, and I want to thank all those that will be involved in the discussion. And thought I'd bring a little bit of background with regards to the special purpose account, and the account was created back in the 1990s from the Progressive Conservatives, and a member from Timmins James Bay, who's here, was here at that time, and at that time it was deemed that the licensing structure that had been created for hunters and anglers, and the royalties from commercial fishermen, and the fines that are given out for issues resulting from not following the regulations, that money be pooled together in a special purpose account and to be solely used as to reinvest into the management of fish and wildlife resource. So it was resource management. And also there was a council that was also available at the time to help make decisions, Heritage Council, to how that money was spent. It was back in 2011 when I was elected, 7 years ago, that a local group, the Aylmer District Stakeholders, came with a problem, with an issue. And just to put into context, this Aylmer District Stakeholder group, it's not just a group of just people who love to hunt and fish, what it is, but it's also an organization that was created by this Liberal government back in 2003, I believe, when David Ramsey was the Minister of the MNR. He had actually had this organized this stakeholder group to help them manage the resources in Unit 92, 93, and 91, I believe. But anyways, southwestern Ontario area, and they had great success. They actually created this system where, through a project, they were helping warn cars from going up and down our busy highways. They're not as busy there in Toronto, but our busy highways, with warning lights for areas where the deer normally cross, so people knew during times of the year when the light was flashing, it was time to be watching out for the deer, and it's quite effective program. They had great success, this group, with Donna Cansfield. They think she was probably one of the best MNR ministers they've ever had to deal with, and I just thought I'd share you with that, just so you don't think that this group is one, not really knowing what they're doing, number two, are partisan. They're far from partisan. They're really, their heart is in fishing and wildlife management in this province, and we have on that committee, there's two previous managers of hunting and angling for the MNR. We have an MNR biologist in that group, and then we have local farmers and hunters on it. So it's a well-educated group, and that's why this bill has come to fruition. I've been a member of the legislature for 7 years, and I've had 5 different MNR ministers to deal with. So I keep bringing up this question continuing to me because we don't get the answers. And the issue is this group had gone to the minister to seek some funding to do a deer study, because they work with the local MNR to decide how many deer tags are given out each year so we can maintain the population. And they were told there's no money. They wanted $10,000 to do a study. There's no money for that project. So they said, holy smokes, well, how much money was spent? Where'd that money go? And they said, we don't have that detail. How much of that SBA fund money were in our region was it spent? And you're looking at an area of my area. We have 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 hunters through the season. We have wild turkey and deer that come in and they buy their licenses and they buy their tags. So they're going, out of all that money that's generated in our area, we can't get the money back to actually study the resource that's generating that money. So yeah, again, no, we don't have the detail how much money was spent. So we continued to push the issue, and the first minister said, I'll get back to you, never get back to me. I get it. And the other ministers, I got zero answers. So the Aylmer District Stakeholders did a Freedom of Information request. First one we got back, we were told, the MNR told the for information privacy, wherever that goes through, that records don't exist.
Wow.
for that detail of how the money was spent. We're like, well, that can't be possible, can't be true. There has to be something. So they did it again, and luckily we were able to get a little bit of information, which I thought when they received information, I thought, great, there's a detail you can, see where the money's spent, and they went through it, and they gave me a copy of it, and it really raised some flags. I'll just highlight some of the issues here. There is $500,000 spent on accommodations. There's $300,000 spent on meals. Media, $4,000 on media. Purchase of home, $53,000. Psychologist, $12,000. Housekeeping services, $15,000. I mean, it was...
That's all conservation.
Personal household goods, $154,000. This one, meals, $96,000.
More pizza.
Tuition, $1,700. Hospitality, $15,000. Cleaning service, $29,000. Laundry services, $14. Even billed laundry service, $14. Stationery and office supplies, $147. Bedding and linen, $7,660. So what we did, okay, there's got to be an explanation. So I asked the minister, how does that relate to wildlife management, fish and wildlife? And
It doesn't.
I didn't get an answer. And it doesn't. It clearly doesn't. And that's what upsets the anglers and hunters of this province. They pay their licenses. They pay their fees. They are the stewards of our environment. They're the ones that make sure that our forests are in good shape. They take care of the land that they're on. And it's not like Northern Ontario. Northern Ontario is Crown property that you can go hunting on. In southwestern Ontario, the people don't realize it, we don't have a lot of Crown land, very little in fact. It's all privately owned land. So not only are they hunting on land, but the farmers themselves have to maintain that property with their own money and such to keep the wildlife going. They're the ones that if they spill the extra grain or corn during harvest season, they're okay with that because they know it's going to be feeding the deer and the wild turkey. They make sure things are kept in place. So not only are they doing that, and they're paying their fees. So then they expect their fees to go to support wildlife resource management. So that's why my group said they wanted to study, because they're the ones that work the MNR to decide how many deer tags to give out, how many deer can be harvested that year. And then other things started happening that rose questions. So hunters couldn't get access to their tags to actually go hunting. They bought their hunting license, then they went into the draw to get their tags, and all of a sudden they weren't getting their tags. And they can get that maybe a year, and then they're supposed to get rotated in, but there's something wrong with the program. And unfortunately, they're still paying in their money. They're okay with paying that money and missing maybe having the ability to hunt that year, except when they realize the money they're paying into is going for cleaning services, psychologists, and steak dinners. What else has happened? Well, the Thames River used to be open to walleye fishing in the spring. In 2008, the government shut it down, saying we want to do a study for 2 years. 2 years we'll do a study, and then we'll reopen it. It's still closed today. We haven't done the study. Well, that's what the SBA money is for. If you need the money to do the spending, and that's what those anglers buying their licenses expected, use the SBA money, do some research of why this walleye fishing is shut down, and then reopen it. It's great economic booster for our area. Moose hunting. Guys in the north realize it. A lot of moose hunters in my area. This government has destroyed moose hunting in this province. And we don't understand why, because they're collecting hunting and fishing licenses for resource management, but they never manage the resource, the moose. And we found out years ago the aerial count that they used to do for moose, they cut corners, or they didn't do it as often, or it got canceled. They weren't using the money for the right thing. Then this government 2 years ago added a user fee onto the deer and hunting licenses. But that didn't go to the SBA fund. Who knows where that money went? So now we've got hunters and anglers through this province paying more because the fees go up all the time. Now they have a fee. Now they're paying HST on that fee. They're not getting the access to hunt and fish in this province. And now they have reports showing that the money is not being spent as it should be spent on managing fish and wildlife. They're paying more and getting less. And with regards to the Heritage Committee, I know the government mentioned, oh, we already have a committee. I've got members in my riding who are part of that committee. They had no say. The ministry didn't listen to anything they said. They were there just to rubber stamp. So this is why I've included this council into my piece of legislation, to actually have some say into proper management of our fish and wildlife. So what was shocked today, two things. I had a quick email from the OFAH that I saw. They're worried that this fund will be cancelled if they kick up a stink. I've never said that. I have never heard the third party say that. I really haven't even heard the government say they'd ever cancel it. So I don't know why they think, if we actually question the transparency and accountability of this fund, would they be afraid it would be cancelled unless they're hearing something else from the other side. So I hope there hasn't been threats to the OFAH that they will lose this funding, because there's no reason why they should ever lose this funding, considering its licensings. And the second off, the response from the minister today was quite convincing to me, that this government, over its 15 years, has officially downloaded the running of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry to our hunters and anglers of this province. She has said it's to pay their benefits, it's to pay to have the staff on the ground. Well, that is not the reasoning of this SBA fund. Those staff, those COs, those staff working, the biologists, all those people were there prior to the special purpose account being created. They should be there today. That money is needed to be used for projects to keep resource management. If it has to be used to supplement the staff, it should not be used to maintain the ministry staff. That is wrong. We all pay taxes in this province, and the tax money and the general revenue should be paying for the staff day in and day out. The extra funding from the SPA fund from the hunters and anglers of this province do not need to be going to actually running the ministry. You've lost that over the years. I don't know where you went wrong, but you owe the hunters and anglers an apology. We need to add this transparency, support my legislation. We'll know how the money is spent, where the money is spent. There'll be a council of grassroots hunters and anglers telling you how to spend the money, and there will be a way for the people of this province to question the spending of this government and get the answers they deserve that we've been shut out of. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.